When we pause and take a wide-angle view of what's happening in the global auto industry, one company stands out with a story so dramatic it almost feels unprecedented. In just a few years, BYD has achieved what looks like the fastest and most explosive growth in the history of car making, a feat that has unsettled an industry used to incremental progress and slow-moving giants. To illustrate the scale of this transformation, consider the numbers. Back in 2020, BYD sold fewer than 500,000 vehicles, respectable for a Chinese manufacturer, but hardly revolutionary. Yet by 2024, that number skyrocketed past 4 million, and this year is expected to reach more than 5 million. It represents one of the most dramatic expansions in the auto sector in over a century, and it has blindsided even seasoned analysts. For years, Tesla was the undisputed leader in electric vehicles. Its branding, its visionary founder, and its technological edge gave it an aura of invincibility. But in a striking reversal, Tesla has been eclipsed by a company that, until recently, was hardly known outside of China. BYD, which not long ago was dismissed as a budget automaker, producing low-cost alternatives for domestic buyers, has emerged as the industry's powerhouse. Today, it outsells, out-innovates, and outmaneuvers nearly every rival. Its portfolio boasts EVs that can recharge in just 5 minutes, plug-in hybrids that outshine Toyota's long-standing hybrid leadership, and batteries designed with such stability and safety that the fire risks haunting other manufacturers have been virtually eliminated. Cities around the world are integrating BYD's buses into public transport fleets. Governments are turning to BYD for electrification projects, and Tesla, once untouchable, now finds itself on the defensive. The question naturally arises, how did this happen so quickly? Why is the rest of the world only beginning to acknowledge BYD's dominance now? The reality is that BYD's ascent was not an overnight miracle, but the result of decades of quiet, disciplined preparation. While Tesla grabbed global headlines with showpiece launches and Elon Musk's magnetic, often controversial persona, BYD was quietly building the foundations of an empire: factories, technologies, and supply chains designed for long-term dominance. The company's origins trace back to 1995, when it was founded by Wang Chuanfu, a chemist from rural China who transformed himself into an entrepreneur. BYD began humbly as a manufacturer of rechargeable batteries for mobile phones, specializing in nickel-cadmium and later lithium-ion cells. This was not glamorous work, nor did it attract global attention. Yet it was here that the company developed its greatest advantage: the ability to produce reliable, cost-efficient energy storage at scale. Within a few short years, BYD had become a significant player in the global battery market, quietly amassing expertise in an area that would later prove to be the beating heart of the EV revolution. A pivotal turning point came in 2003 when BYD made what many observers at the time saw as a puzzling move. It acquired Xinchuan Automobile Company, a struggling, state-owned automaker. For most outsiders, this was a curiosity, a battery maker dabbling in cars. But for Wang Chuanfu, it was nothing less than a masterstroke. With the acquisition, BYD gained entry into the automotive world and began charting a course toward vertical integration. Wang envisioned a future where BYD would not only build batteries, but also design and manufacture the vehicles that house them, creating total control from raw materials to finished cars. This was the seed of a strategy that would later give BYD a decisive competitive edge. Unlike Tesla, which even today depends on outside suppliers such as Panasonic for key battery components, and unlike traditional automakers who rely on sprawling webs of third-party vendors, BYD's approach has always been to keep as much as possible in-house. It designs and builds its own batteries, chips, and many of its vehicle parts, ensuring not only quality control, but also reducing the risk of supply chain bottlenecks. This model of vertical integration has allowed BYD to operate with extraordinary agility, minimizing costs, accelerating production timelines, and giving it a flexibility that legacy automakers can only envy. The world began to take serious notice in 2008 when Warren Buffett, famous for his cautious approach to technology investments, made an uncharacteristic move. Through Berkshire Hathaway, he acquired nearly 10% of BYD for around $230 million. For BYD, this was not just a financial investment, but a symbolic breakthrough. Buffett's endorsement carried enormous weight, legitimizing BYD in the eyes of international markets and governments. Suddenly, what had been seen as a regional Chinese player became a company worth watching globally. With Buffett's vote of confidence, BYD accelerated its ambitions. It expanded beyond passenger EVs into plug-in hybrids and commercial applications, producing electric buses, taxis, and trucks. In China, the company quickly became a household name as cities scrambled to electrify public transit systems. While Western automakers often resisted tighter environmental regulations and invested heavily in lobbying, BYD embraced the challenge and provided practical, scalable solutions. By doing so, it demonstrated that electric vehicles vehicles could be affordable and workable at mass scale. The core of BYD's strategy remains simple but profound. Control the supply chain and you control the future. While most automakers function like conductors managing an orchestra of suppliers, BYD behaves more like a one-man band, handling nearly everything internally. Batteries, chips, software, and assembly all flow together within the company's ecosystem. This integration has created unmatched efficiency, allowing BYD to move faster, produce more cheaply, and innovate at a pace that has left rivals scrambling. By 2024, the results of this strategy were undeniable. That year, BYD crossed a historic milestone by outselling Tesla globally, delivering about 4.27 million vehicles, more than 10 times its sales just 4 years earlier. At the same time, Tesla was struggling with delays, missed promises, and slipping market share. The narrative of Tesla as the unassailable leader of EVs began to unravel, replaced by a new reality. BYD had seized the throne. What makes BYD's rise so remarkable is not only the volume of its sales, but the breadth of its achievements. In Europe, a market long dominated by loyal customers of Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz, BYD has begun to gain serious traction, overtaking Tesla in countries like Spain and Italy and making inroads in Germany and the UK. This is a market notoriously difficult for outsiders to penetrate, yet BYD's combination of lower prices, stylish design, and advanced technology has given it a powerful foothold. Pricing has become one of BYD's sharpest weapons. Tesla once held the reputation for producing premium EVs at relatively affordable prices compared to luxury brands. But BYD's offerings like the Dolphin and Seal now rival or surpass Tesla's Model 3 and Model Y at significantly lower prices. And these are not stripped-down economy vehicles. They are sleek, feature-rich, and technologically advanced, designed to appeal to middle-class buyers in cost-sensitive markets. In some cases, BYD even offers high-performance EVs that cost as little as $10,000, vehicles that can accelerate from 0 to 60 in just 3 seconds. Looking ahead, BYD's ambitions go far beyond producing vehicles. Its strategy is to embed itself deeply within global infrastructure and supply chains. It has already begun building factories outside of China, such as its bus and truck facility in Lancaster, California, which supplies vehicles to local transit authorities. By working closely with governments, BYD not only ensures sales, but also positions itself as an indispensable partner in the transition to sustainable mobility. In Latin America and Europe, it is pursuing similar footholds, sometimes facing challenges, but demonstrating an ability to adapt quickly. The broader implications of BYD's rise are immense. It represents not just the success of one company, but a fundamental shift in the balance of global automotive power. For Tesla, it is a warning that brand charisma and stock market hype cannot substitute for execution. For Toyota, Ford, Volkswagen, and other legacy players, it is a signal that decades of dominance can be overturned by a nimble, vertically integrated competitor. For governments and consumers, it offers a chance to accelerate the move towards sustainable transportation with vehicles that are safer, cheaper, and more practical. What is perhaps most striking is how underappreciated BYD's dominance remains in popular discourse. Much of the world's attention is still captivated by Tesla and Elon Musk, while BYD's relentless, methodical success story has unfolded with less fanfare. But the data tells the truth. BYD is not catching up anymore. It has taken the lead. And as cities, consumers, and entire nations adopt its products, the company is rewriting the rules of transportation. The future of the automobile may no longer be centered in Silicon Valley, but in Shenzhen, where BYD continues to expand its empire with a vision rooted in batteries, hybrids, vertical integration, and scale. It has made the internal combustion engine look increasingly irrelevant, not by declaring its death, but by relegating it to a backup role in vehicles that are otherwise electric. And as BYD continues to grow, innovate, and expand globally, the gap between it and its rivals is likely to widen further. For anyone watching closely, the message is already clear. Tesla's era of unquestioned dominance has passed. A new king has risen in the automotive world, and its name is BYD. The story of the company's rise is more than corporate success. It is a shift that could reshape not only an industry, but also the very future of transportation.